everything I've done project. It was a producer that saw me on set. I was doubling Gabrielle Union on Breaking In, and just being there, being in front of her every day. I had no idea. She had told me, when she was hiring me for Shadow Force, that she had always wanted to put me in a role for something. So it just, something opened up, and I was able to step in and do it.
Welcome back to the Positive Gains podcast. Today, my special guest is Jenel Stevens Thompson. She's a stunt woman and an actress. She's been a part of a lot of different projects, films, things like that. So I'm so excited, Jenel, for you being on today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I always like to start out with like the early part, your journey so far, whatever you're willing to share, little just general background info on kind of where you're from and how you grew up.
And do we have enough time? I was born and raised in New York. Still live there now. So born in Manhattan, raised on Long Island, live upstate. So love New York. I've lived in Manhattan for a while, but I like the suburbia. I like to be close enough to the city, because I feel like of all the places I've been to in the world, it has a heartbeat like no other. So proud New Yorker. I grew up in sports. My parents put me in anything and everything I wanted to do, especially my dad being an athlete, my mom wanting to ride on the coattails of me being an athlete because she was never allowed to. So tried my hand in martial arts. I started with karate, went to taekwondo, went back to it. But after my basketball stint, I played baseball when I was younger, thought I was going to be the first female Yankee pitcher. Then moved on to playing basketball in high school, then in D1 in college. Came back to my martial arts. And at the time I found Stunts, it was basically like the perfect storm. I had really, throughout my life, trained for this career without even knowing about it, with everything I did sport-wise, and then like things like scuba diving certification, skydiving, jet skiing. I always loved being active. I love being an athlete. The mentality behind it also helped in this career. So I guess that's me in a nutshell.
Are you a Knicks fan?
I support the Knicks. They have, as with all the fans, I'm sure, have just disappointed. They've just been, it's been a long journey. So I've had to step away. I consider myself, in football and basketball, because those are the top two sports I like, to be a player's coach, even though now I'm a diehard Raider. That's due to my husband, but Las Vegas Raiders. But with basketball, mostly I've been a player's fan. And even when I was younger playing basketball, my dad always wanted to get me to sit down and watch it, but I was like, oh, the time I'm spending in here, I could be out there playing. So, I didn't watch it as much, as study the game on the screen as much as I did just going out and playing.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Knicks fans. They've been through a lot forever, and I kind of thought maybe this would be the year, but it didn't happen. So
getting closer though. Last 2 years, getting closer.
A lot closer than they've been.
And I am a New York Liberty fan though.
Oh, okay.
New York Liberty season ticket holder. Yeah, definitely a New York Liberty fan. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I like women's basketball. Myself, we try to go to the games. So I live in Safford, which is 3 hours away from Phoenix, and that's where the Mercury play, as well as the Suns. So I know all about heartbreak. My Suns were up 2-0 on the Milwaukee years back, and I was that person celebrating early and beat us 4 straight. So I know all about heartbreak.
Yeah. And being a Raider fan is tough too. So hey, at least I'm not a bandwagon jumper.
Exactly. So you mentioned, kind of the outdoorsy things like basketball and baseball growing up like that, and then wanting to do like even extreme stuff, skydiving. So, after college and getting into everything, Was there a moment in your life that you realized that maybe this is what I'm meant to do, or did you have trouble finding direction?
Uh, I never had problem finding direction. It just seemed like uh, life had other plans for me. I went to school for business. I had my master's in sport administration. I wanted to work on the business side of sports. But in doing that, I had an office job for a year and realized that sitting behind a desk was not for me. So, I also, as I was doing that, trying to get into acting and modeling, had a stint with that. But then, pounding the pavement while trying to pay rent in New York City was, very hard to do. So, went with personal training for it to be a supplement to my acting and modeling career. Ended up falling in love with that more so until I went back into martial arts, which is where a lot of the New York stunt community went and trained. So with that, after working myself up to a high level in my martial arts, being there all day, every day, seeing the stunt community come in and train, I started to become more and more curious. Never thought that this could be something that I would do or consider, or even, obviously I knew I watched movies and stuff, but stunts was never something on my radar. So just watching them and speaking to friends and, who were at the school and were also stunt performers, I just got into it. And they passed my name around. My first job was Mysteries of Laura. The lead double for Deborah Messing came into my dressing room and was like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Whoa, what?" And I had moved all my personal training clients to the next day. I was like, "Nothing. I'm totally free." So thought it was Deborah Messing for a second because she was looked so much like her, and that stunt performer really took me under her wing. And from that, my name just got circled around because of all the stuff that I had been doing. Everything that's in my background, my toolkit. I had somebody called me that day when I was on set. It was like, "Hey, I got a job for you." I was like, "Well, I don't even know how this person got my number," but they were like, "Hey, can you see if you can reach out to the stunt community, see if you can get some gun training?" I was like, "Oh, well, my dad's an NYPD. He retired NYPD. He gave me some gun training. My ex-boyfriend taught me how to shoot turkey loads and 22s, and I'm New Jersey certified in firearms. But if you want me to go do more training, I can totally do that." She's like, "I think you're qualified enough. That's good." So, like I said, everything that I had been doing just led to what I'm doing now without me even knowing about it.
And how many years have you been involved in the industry?
Oh, I feel like all my life. With stunts specifically, 10 years consistently. But before that, like I said, high school, uh, actually, I was modeling as a kid. My parents put me into that. Then in high school, tried to get back into it. In college, tried to, but couldn't because I was under contract from, the school playing, being a D1 player. Um, After that, came into the acting world and stuff like that in 2005 to 2010-ish. So it's kind of been off and on until consistently hitting with stunts, and that also opening and bringing me back into the acting world as well, because I co-starred with Kerry Washington in Shadow Force just recently. So love the acting part of it too.
Is there one that you prefer more, like the acting side, or as opposed to stunt work, or?
I I like to combine both of them, to be honest with you. Always loved acting. Never thought about stunts till I started it. Love that. So I love to put the physicality with, being on camera. In fact, in Miss Marvel, I kind of created a role for myself, uh, doing what we call pre-visualization, so that the directors and producers can see what the action is going to be. And we were just messing around in rehearsal, and I kind of threw a line as I was playing one of the other characters, and the producers loved it, and they put me in the scene. I was doubling in the scene, but also had a cameo in it as well. So I just really enjoy both of those things, because sitting around on set, gets me a little antsy too. But love being in front of the camera, and then also having the fight scenes because of my martial arts background. So one of my biggest passions. So combining them, I don't know if I can separate it, but yeah.
Tell me about Shadow Force.
An unbelievable project with an unbelievable cast. Carrie and Omar being the captains of that ship was unbelievable. And then just the bond that I created with the rest of the cast, it helped on screen too. So nothing on camera or off camera felt hard or um, it just felt comfortable. It felt like I was supposed to be there, and it was a lot of fun, having my own fight sequence, but also, like I said, being in camera and gelling with all the rest of the shadows as we were trying to hunt Omar and Carrie down. But that was also very weird, being on camera looking like I wanted to kill Carrie when, as I'm walking and staring at her down, I was like, I love you so much, you're an amazing human being. But having to have that uh, show through on camera was maybe that was the hardest part, to just act like I wanted to kill them when I love them so much.
And you've been a part of a lot of different projects, right? Like Shadow Force and the Black Panther, the Avengers, Breaking In. Is there something that stuck out more to you that you've been able to do?
I mean, with the work, if you call it work, right? Because I don't so much call it work, because it's something that I love to do, whether it's acting and stunts and being on set. To me, the most important thing is the experience I have in each one of these projects. The long run of Panther, I've made lifelong friends on that. What Chadwick did with us in retrospect, us not knowing that he was sick, he created bonds. He brought us together every weekend. He would have something social that everybody could go to. Sometimes costume people stay with costume people, stunt people stay with stunt people, but he brought everybody together, and that was extremely special. So those are the moments, like I said, with Shadow Force, and having that camaraderie, having those bonds, making those lifelong friendships is the most important for me. But along the way, I get to do the stunts and be proud of things I said I might not ever do, or was too scared to do, and then walk away and said I did that, or um, being on screen and have that be cemented in history on the big screen. So those are proud moments. But what I hold near and dear is the moments, the experiences, and the bonds that I make along the way.
Is there ever a time that you like pinch yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, look where I'm at right now, like looking left and right? Like, have you ever had that time in your life where you're just soaking it all in?
Constantly, constantly. Because sometimes, we're on set, it's like, oh God, it's so hot out here. Oh man, I'm standing around for us. And then you're like, oh, I get to do this. This is really cool. I'm just sitting here talking to Angela Bassett, or I'm just sitting here, talking to whoever, this or that. And I'm like just having a conversation, breaking bread with Kerry Washington. That's, it's just, yeah, I sit back every once in a while. I have to, because I'm in a position that I know a lot of people would love to be in, that haven't, you know, been able to yet. And to stay grateful and thankful and appreciative, and to keep myself grounded. I a lot of when I hang out with my friends and stuff, they get all hyped up sometimes, and they talk about the people that they know, knowing that they know me, and it's like, that's so weird that they're like, oh man, you're gonna go hang out with your friend again and blah blah. And I don't think about those things sometimes, because it's like, oh, that's not, it's what I do. It's not who I am. I'm like, not this. I consider myself this Hollywood star or whatever. I'm just a person that, like, it just happens to be doing something that I love, So it does hit sometimes too, though. Like after Panther, I saw a video that went viral on Instagram about these two little black boys looking at the, man, I'm getting choked up just saying it again. They were looking at the Black Panther poster outside of the movie theater, and they were like, "Oh, that's me," pointing at the. I was like, "Oh," it just made me instantly cry. To have been a part of something like that. That, oh, hits home so hard. So I those are the times and the moments I take to really remember what I'm doing and how important it is, and I want to give back. And tell Black women that this is a career that they can do. I never thought about it before, and I've had messages of people reaching out to me on social media saying that, wow, this, I didn't know that this is something that Black women can do. So that's very empowering and inspiring, and drives me a little bit too.
Yeah, I know for me, like I've said this before, like watching a movie, you don't you appreciate it a lot of the times when you leave, especially like the Black Panther, because you watch the film and then you're just a moviegoer, and then when you leave, it kind of hits you differently, and then you start thinking of all the different moving pieces that it took to make it, one big project, and stunt work too, and extras. Like I think at times they get forgotten about
Mm,
because you get caught up in the action or the dialogue, and you're not really thinking about the falls or the roles and different things. So yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because being a part of something so special like that movie's gonna live on forever, and you
yeah,
can tell grandkids and whoever else. So big shout out to you guys.
thank you. Appreciate that.
How about influences growing up? Always curious to know what kind of led you to, if there was somebody in particular that kind of helped you. Excuse me.
Well, like I said, I had never thought about this being a career, so it's hard to nail that down. However, the first person, because I read the question on the screen, the first person that popped up was Bruce Lee, to be honest, because I always loved martial arts and seeing him act on screen, um, definitely, I think that was a big influence for me, even if it was to do the start, the beginnings of it to lead to what I'm doing now. So it just that I guess is full circle when you think about it, because I like to think that I'm trying to model myself after like a Jet Li or a Jackie Chan, true martial artists that are now actors. So I would say, yeah, that the first one would be Bruce Lee, and then, you know, uh, outside of that, I have my mentors in the stunt industry. Zoe Bell is somebody to emulate, look up to. She was a stunt performer that turned actress as well. But then, I have the Mam Smith, the Heidi Schnappoff, the Asia Frary. Those three women are mentors to me in this industry. So I guess I'd have to go more recent since this is a career I never thought about when I was growing up.
How about a typical work day like for you? I know you've been busy these last few weeks. What does it
The
typically look like for you?
best thing about this job is that there is no typical day at work. Every single day is different. Every time I step foot on set, I feel like I've seen it all, and then something happens. It's like, wow, never saw that before. Didn't expect that. So that's what I love about it. There's no monotony when it comes to stunts or being on set. So, but in general, I would say, arriving early, making sure I get my breakfast, then, reading the sides or reading the call sheet, see what we're about to do. Because sometimes we go into, go on set and don't know what we're doing. Sometimes they're
Wow.
like, "Hey, you available? Sure, cool. See you this day." And it's like, "Hey, what are we doing today?" So as long as it's not something huge, normally, if it's like a driving or if it's a car hit or if it's a high fall, they tell you in advance, like this is what the stunt is. Be ready for it, but we'll prepare, we'll rehearse. But a lot of times, if it's something small, we'll just show up to work and be like, "Hey, okay, I'm hanging off this bridge today. Cool, we can do that." So, and then typically days are long. We'll be on set for maybe 12, 14 hours a day. A lot of standing around sometimes. Talking with the coordinator, and then a lot of times what we do takes a few minutes, and then we're there still. Maybe the next scene comes up, we have something else to do, and it's the same thing. So a lot of people think it's super glamorous to be on set, but honestly, it's not as glamorous as a lot of people think. So, but I still love it because that's when the bonds are made, right? That's when you get to talk to people, create those friendships, be there, see the magic that's happening, and a lot of times people think, oh, from the finished product, everything was like, oh man, there's explosions all day and all that. That's not the case. It's like we make sure we do everything safely, and then we do everything in pieces. So I guess that would be a typical day. And like I said, it's so different all the time. So I can have so many different stories and avenues to go down with this question. But
I imagine the mentality. I always ask people like, how do you best prepare, even though you're kind of going into the unknown some days, like because like you said, along a fall or a hit, a car crash, and then standing around, and I imagine you're networking in between. But yeah, how do you mentally prepare? Just go out there and do it.
So the mental comes after the physical preparation, right? And for us, let's say, excuse me, the saying is if you're not working, you're training. So whenever we're not on set and between jobs, we're in the gym, either whether it's fitness, lifting weights, running, just working out basically, because our bodies are our tools, and also training in anything and everything that involves stunts, such as martial arts. Like I'll go to my martial art classes. I'll go um, take horse riding lessons. I'll go to driving seminars. I'll go to fire burn seminars. Just basically doing everything to prepare yourself for that call of, hey, this is what we have coming up. Are you available and can you do it? And you want to be able to say yes, because that means work for you, right? So having that preparation physically prepares you mentally to be ready to say, yes, I can do that, and be confident in that, and then be able to show up on set and be able to do your job correctly.
Now, when you do get, a little bit of downtime or in between, I'm sure there's a lot of music being played. So, if you had to open up your playlist right now, what top 3 songs would we find and repeat?
Probably Her. I love playing Her radio on Pandora. So Best Part is one of my favorite songs with her, Daniel Caesar. Daniel Caesar. Um, Probably a Beyonce song. Any one of them, take your pick. And man, third song, maybe a Mark Anthony song. I'm half Hispanic, so I love Mark Anthony. I'll play Mark Anthony radio and all of his songs.
And what's a big dream or goal that you're still chasing? Because I know that you've done a lot, accomplished a lot, but like you said, like I'm not trying to quit. I'm still moving forward. So what are you
Right.
working towards?
Probably more acting. More jobs in front of the camera. Seeing as how I love stunts, but after a while it's gonna, take a toll on the body. So just planning ahead, and acting is something I've always enjoyed. And so yeah, just chasing those bigger roles and those bigger projects, and combining, like being like a Colombiana would be amazing for me. So that's an aspiration right there. And yeah, maybe even coordinating some things as a stunt coordinator, fight coordinator. Um, yeah, that's what I think would be my biggest.
And did that help you, everything that you've done, kind of project you into Shadow Force, or was it already in motion?
Yeah, everything I've done project. It was a producer that saw me on set. So I was doubling Gabrielle Union on Breaking In, and just being there, being in front of her every day. I had no idea. She had told me, when she was hiring me for Shadow Force, that she had always wanted to put me in a role for something. So it just, something opened up, and I was able to step in and do it. So, just being on set and seeing the process. And a lot of times with stunt performers, we have to read lines with the actors. And I remember on She-Hulk was one of my proud moments where, Tatiana, the woman who played She-Hulk in the show, I had to read lines with her because Jamila Jamil, who I was doubling, was doing something else, and they were over my shoulder. So I read with her, and she barely knew who I was before that. But afterwards, she was like, "Oh my God, that was so fun reading with you. That was amazing." Oh, blah. So that was really cool, and it gives me the confidence to continue to pursue it, and having feedback from other people um, like that is awesome. So.
What would be one message that you'd hope that listeners take away from this conversation? Because my goal was to try to help bring your profession, to light, and kind of have people see that the different side of it, and to think, to open up their eyes, mine included. But if you had to pick something, what would it be?
I would say never limit yourself, especially mentally. Um, don't close yourself off to opportunities that are knocking at your door. A lot of times you're on track to do something, but then life has other plans for you, and to just be open to it, and not be so scared. The fear is there though. I mean, I work through fear. Everybody thinks, oh, you're a stunt person, you're fearless. That's totally not the case. I operate in fear, and my motivation in this industry is to overcome fear. That's what drives me. So when I'm doing a big stunt, yeah, I'm scared, uh, but I don't limit myself, and I say, you know, I can do this, no problem. And when they call action, that's in the background. You know, just got to do the job. So, you know, when I did a high dive for a job. I'd never done anything regarding high dive, and I walked into the first lesson that I took, and I was like, "There's absolutely no way," but I did it. You know, so it's just overcoming your own fears and stop telling yourself you can't. You know, always tell yourself I can do this, and just when you say that, then prepare, rehearse, uh, get yourself ready for it. It doesn't come overnight all the time, so you just have to work at it. If you want something, go after it. Don't limit yourself.
I think we forget as humans how strong we are, you know, and then I always think too, if you surround yourself with positive minded people too, it'll help. But someone once told me that whether you believe you can or you can't, either way, you're right. So,
Yep, absolutely. My dad has a saying. He always said, "You'll never be great until you've been good. You'll never be good until you've been bad. You'll never be bad until you try, and you'll never try unless you think you can."
mm,
So I
it's
carry
true.
that with me. Yeah.
So what's next for you? What else do you have? Whatever you're willing to share coming up for you.
Willing or able to is two different things. I've been working on a few shows, which has kept me. I've been, man, 7 days nonstop, but I'm loving it. I'm in LA right now. Going to work on a show called Nemesis. I was working on a show called Lucky a few weeks ago here. Also, back in New York, I was on Daredevil. I was in Philly just recently on Reacher. So just working shows right now. Then and again, the project I told you that I almost worked with Omar Gooding. They actually want to write a role for me in this project, which takes me out of the first episode, but keeps me on for the rest of it. So, you know, once they start filming the first part of that, then they'll keep me in the loop of it. But I was very happy, and they were excited to have me on board. So, um, like I said, I can't say much because everything's still up in the air. But I was really grateful for that opportunity, and you know, to see where that goes. And yeah, just continuing to take acting classes and continuing to travel and work as I'm doing now.
When do you find time to take breaks? I mean, is it just it's got to be on your time, right? Because you're saying that people call you, so you kind of just block out so many days, like I'm not doing much. Or
That's really hard to do, especially in this industry. You know, they always say that as soon as you book a vacation, work comes, right? Because you'll be off, and then you're like, "Oh, let's take a vacation." And then they'll be like, "Ah, can you work this day?" And it'll be of all the days, you know, during that vacation. So, I'm fortunate to be with somebody. My husband's he's in the industry too, so he understands. So if we have something booked, then sometimes I'll be like, "Gotta cancel," and you know, he'll have to do it too. We both understand, so it's fine. But you know, there's a lot of, you know, time between jobs and stuff like that where we take advantage of it. It's like, oh, we'll take a short weekend here, or, you know, and a lot of times, not a lot of times, but there are times where I'll say no because it's important to me to be with family. You know, if it's a family event and or a family reunion, or my parents need to do something, or my baby cousins are having their play or something like that. If it's nothing super major, it still pulls at my heartstrings to say no to a job, but I will do it for family. If that's important to me too. To find a work-life balance is something that can get lost very easily in this industry, and I make sure to try not to do that. I always try to keep that balance of life and work.
lastly, where are you at on social media in case people want to follow you, and learn more about you?
Great question. Thank you. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is Jenel_stunts. JENEL_stunts. And then Facebook, you can find me through my name, Jenel Stevens or Jenel Stevens Thompson.
Jenel, thank you so much for being on. I know busy, super busy. I appreciate it. Like I said, I wanted to learn more, and I always tell people when everybody comes on, or excuse me, anybody, that's always my goal is I have to learn first, and then it projects out. So thank you for providing all that information, and my hat's off to you. I mean, that's a tough job, and I'm glad that it's going your way where you're starting to get roles and maybe not transitioning out, but being able to do what you want on your terms.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.